Hey, now I bet you thought it was going to be another whole year until my next set of videos. Well, first of all, how dare you? And second of all, you're wrong because I'm back with more videos. And what do I have this time? This time we're going to do a Sue Storm piece, aka The Invisible Woman, aka approximately 25% of the Fantastic Four. And again, this is just my preliminary composite sketch I did here. Everything's just loosely pasted together. Blah, 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 blah. Let's begin. And this is our first image we're gonna use. And it's just kind of a, like a rendered sci-fi space sort of suit. And that's gonna provide the basis for her outfit. Now, I normally do clip things out with the pen tool, but because this is just on like a solid blue background, I can probably get away with just using, the magic wand tool. That'll just make things a lot easier. Put a little bit of a feather on it. Like a 0.5. And maybe contract it a little bit. Contract 1. And I don't need this whole thing, so I'm just gonna grab right about that much. Copy that. Paste that in here. Scale it up to about that. For now. So let's move on to the next image. And from here, we're gonna grab the arms. And because it's a little dark in here, I can't quite see the edge. It's hard to tell like where the edge of the arm is and where the background is. I'm just gonna put a temporary adjustment layer and just lighten up the whole thing. See, there you go. And now that we can see the edge, we're gonna clip it out. Making a path can be very slow and meticulous, but it is the most exact way to get a selection, so we do what we gotta do. All right, we got our first arm done. Let's move on to our second arm. Make a selection. Let's try one. Gotta flip it horizontally, obviously. Scale down a bit. And boom! Look at that. Look at that. It's like it was meant to be. It's like it was meant to be. It fits it perfectly. Or nearly perfectly. Almost perfectly. I'll get to that in a second. But this really goes back to what I was saying in a previous video, that the key to a good photo composite is finding images that work together. You really gotta take the time and find the proper images that fit as far as, anatomy and lighting and angle. And this is just a really good example of that. I just pasted them in roughly. I didn't even do any work to combine them yet. And you can already tell that they're gonna go together great. Oh, she's got a little watch. Like a little watch sunburn area there. I didn't even see that before. Now I'm gonna make a few adjustments to our suit layer. That reminds me. Let me label these suit and arms. And I'm just gonna give this suit rendering a little more curves, because why not? Now I'm just gonna line up her hands with the suit hands just so it fits together even better. It already fits together great, but we can make it even better. Maybe a little bit more? A little bit more? More? More or too much? More? What do you think? More? 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 Okay, that's enough. That's enough of that. Woo! Look at that. She got thick. So let's start to mask off the suit arms, so we only see the bare arms. And I want to liquefy our suit a little more so that this kind of shoulder seam lines more up with her, the shoulder we pasted in. Gonna use a fairly big brush, and we're just gonna line these up. Right about there looks good. So let's go in here and just start erasing the arm. And I'm noticing I got a little bit of the black background. See, I have some of the black background right there and a little bit of right there. I'm just gonna very quickly get rid of that. And I'm gonna make a new layer, put it on lighten, go to my brush, just take a sample and go over that. Here too, just take a sample, just go over that. Take a sample, go over it. Sample, go over, sample, go over. And not everywhere, just where I see that dark edge that I don't want. Oh, right there too, right in that thumb. And while I'm over here, I'm gonna get rid of this this watch band suntan line that I pointed out before. And there's probably several ways I could get rid of this, but let's see, let's try this. Let's try grabbing a selection from here, copying that, and just dragging it down here. Maybe putting that on darken. That's not bad. And a little bit of color. Maybe it's too much. I'm just gonna temporarily turn the arms off and do some suit adjustments. So right now the suit is too black. It's gotta be more blue, obviously. So let's make it a little more blue. Let's try doing a subtle color overlay and see how that looks. Color overlay, where are we? There we are. Let's pick a good blue. Let's just use that. Maybe do a subtle soft light. Very subtle soft light. Or a subtle color. Let's keep it on color for now. And you see I have this kind of this highlight on the edge here. Well, I want to pump that up more. I want to make that even more bright. I'm just going to roughly select all that, copy it, and paste it in front. Let me duplicate that first. desaturate that. Put it on screen. We go to our levels. Bring over our blacks, and we're just gonna pump up that highlight more. And I want to mask off that hard edge. And while I'm at it, let me make a new layer. Call that hand shadows. And as you can guess, it's going to be the shadows for the hands. And I'm just going to paint in my shadows. So very generally darken this up. Here, here, here. And while I'm doing shadows, let me put some shadows on our arms. Make a new layer. Call that shadows. And I'm just gonna paint in a subtle shadow where her arm meets the suit. Very subtle. All right, I mentioned before that these arms fit this body rendering almost perfectly, but not quite. And what I meant was, see on our suit right here, we had this kind of bright highlight that's coming in from her, sort of from her right lower area. And so it's causing this highlight right here. But of course, on her arms, there's no highlight. So we need to add that highlight so it's more consistent. And we could maybe just paint in that highlighted edge, you know, just make a new layer and use our brush and just paint in on screen some white here so it matches that highlight. I've seen other Photoshop compositors do that with varying levels of success, but to me that doesn't really look very realistic. So I want a more realistic highlight on her, on the edge of her arm here. So I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do that. Very simple. Gonna take this picture, and you'll notice her arm is in a very similar position, but she has that little highlighted edge here. So we're gonna take this highlighted edge from this picture and put it in our other picture. And first we're just gonna clip it out. And we're just gonna get about that. Make our selection, paste that in, move it up here, flip it, and I'm just using Dodge to enhance these highlights even more. So we got our highlights on this arm right here, and now we just need to line it up with this arm. Then turn the opacity down. Gonna warp it to get it as close of a fit as I can. All right, that's pretty close. Let me label that. Call it arm highlight. And now I'm going to go into liquify to refine it even more. If it overlaps the other arm a little more, that's fine, because we're going to clip it to this arm. So you're not going to see that overlap. But still, I wanted to get it as close as I can. Yeah, down here we're going to have to fudge it a little bit because the hands don't quite line up as well as I would have liked. But that should be okay. That shouldn't be an issue. And we're just matching up the contours with one arm to the other. Yeah, see here we had this little muscle bump right there. See what I'm talking about? And here, turn that up, we had that same kind of muscle bump right there. I don't know the muscle name. Muscle bump is as good as you're gonna get out of me. And those look like they line up pretty good. All right, let's see how that looks. So let's clip that to that layer. Put that on screen. Desaturate that. And just slide over our blacks. And let's see how that looks. And I'm just going to mask this off here. I don't need all of that, for sure. Let's zoom out and see how that looks. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's pretty close. That's pretty close to what we need. Although I do want to darken her arm up a little bit. Her arm should be a little darker right here. So I'm just going to go into my shadows layer that I already made. Maybe just darken that up a bit. I think I can just darken this whole side of the arm a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. Because the side of her suit here is pretty dark. And just gonna refine the shadow layer a little bit more. Like I want to take out some of that, take out some of that, take it back some right there and right there. I think that's better. And because the two hands didn't line up, the hand with the highlight didn't line up with this hand here, I'm gonna paint in some highlights. Like I said before, I wouldn't want to paint in this entire highlight by hand. I don't think that looks very realistic when you do that, but you can get away with just painting in small little details. Like this. That's pretty good. I'm liking that. I think it's working. I might go in later and spend a lot more time on this, getting this highlight more exact, but I think you get the point. Yeah, so we didn't have a highlight, and now we added our highlight. And now our arm matches our costume. Didn't match here. Now it matches. It's just that simple. Alright, so I think we're looking pretty good so far. I wanted to get the head done in this video too, but unfortunately I think I just spent too much time doing the highlights, so I'm kind of running out of time. But I will do the head in the next video, and I'll work out some suit costume details. But until then, take care.